The village of Ajoran had always been peaceful. The men were strong, the women nurturing, and the chiefs were wise. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves on the trees, and the sun shone brightly every day. But the calm was shattered one fateful evening when a mysterious woman named Kemi arrived. She was unlike anyone the villagers had ever seen. Her eyes sparkled like stars reflected in the river. Her beauty was hypnotizing, and every man in the village found himself drawn to her. Her presence was like a cool breeze on a hot day, refreshing yet dangerous. But behind that captivating smile, something dark and dangerous lingered. The villagers could not have known that Kemi had come for more than admiration. She had also come for revenge. Years before her arrival to Ajoran, Kemi had once been a queen, beloved and cherished in the great kingdom of Nola. She rode side by side with her husband King Ola, and together they were adored by their people. But in the shadows, Bode, the king's most trusted advisor, watched Kemi with envy. He resented her power, her influence over the kingdom, and the love she shared with the king. His heart was blackened with jealousy. But they began to poison the king's minds with lies, whispering that Kemi was plotting to overthrow him and seize the throne for herself. King Ola, once filled with love for his wife, grew suspicious and fearful. His trust for Kemi began to crumble, and one dark night, he made a decision that would change both of their lives forever. Without confronting Kemi or asking for the truth, King Ola ordered her to be cast out of the kingdom. She was dragged from her chambers, a royal robe torn from her, and thrown into the wide forest like a common criminal. Her cries for justice went unanswered. No one, not even those who had once called her queen, stood up for her. The king, blinded by lies, had betrayed her. As she wandered the forest, cold and alone, Kemi's heart began to harden. Her love for the king turned into bitter hatred. Days passed, and her sorrows deepened until one night, something unearthly happened. In the darkest part of the forest, Kemi stumbled upon a glowing ancient tree. Beneath its roots, a dark spirit appeared, a spirit born from the pain and betrayal of countless wrong souls. The spirit, seeing Kemi's broken heart and rage, offered a deal. In exchange for her soul, she would gain the power to destroy any man who crossed her path. In her fury, Kemi accepted. The spirit granted her the ability to drain life essence from men, leaving them weak, powerless, and at her mercy. From that day forward, Kemi's soul belonged to the darkness. Kemi arrived at Ajoran not by chance, but as part of the plan. The men of the village reminded her of King Ola, strong, proud, and respected. They represented everything that had been taken away from her, and she vowed to make them suffer, just as she had. Her first target was Adisa, the village best hunter. Adisa was known for his strength and bravery, often venturing deep into the forest to bring back food for the village. But when Kemi approached him, her beauty and charm entranced him. He did not see the danger in her eyes at all. That night, she drained his strength as he slept beside her, leaving him weak and helpless. The mighty hunter who had once fed the village could now barely lift his bow. Next was Bayo, the blacksmith, a man known for his powerful arms and the way he shapes metals with ease. Him visited his forge one day, asking a tool she didn't even need. With a simple touch on his arm, he stole his strength. His once strong muscles withered, and the heat from the forge became unbearable. His armor fell from his hand, and Bayo could no longer work. The third victim was Adiola, the fisherman. He met him by the river, a smile as enchanting as ever. With a gentle touch on his shoulder, his energy left his body and he collapsed. The once muscular fisherman who could draw his boat against any current would now barely stand. Each time, Kemi felt a cold satisfaction. The men were suffering as she had, and their revenge was only beginning. As the day passed, the village of Ajoran fell into despair. The women watched in horror as their men, once strong and proud, became weak and powerless. Husbands who had once provided for their family could no longer work. Those who had once brought honor to the village now lay in their beds, too frail to move. The women of the village, led by the Tsar's wife, Amina, gathered together. They had no choice but to fight back. Armed with sticks, stones, and whatever tools they could find, they marched to Kemi's hut at the edge of the village. When they arrived, Kemi stood at the door, her beauty more haunting than ever. Her eyes glowed with a dark power, and the woman hesitated. But Amina, filled with rage and desperation, stepped forward. "You've taken everything from us," Amina cried. "Leave this course or face consequences." Kemi's smile faded. She looked at the woman with cold indifference. "For mercy," she said softly. "Where was mercy when I was cast out? Betrayed by the man I loved. No one helped me. No one thing who stood by me. Why should I help you now?" I was struck deep, and the women were left speechless. They turned back, defeated, but they were not done. They gathered again, this time deciding to beg instead of fight. The next morning, they knelt before Kemi's hut, weeping, pleading with her to lift the curse. The sight of the wives, mothers, and sisters in tears touched something in Kemi's heart. For a moment, the woman she once was, the queen loved by all, returned. But the memory of her own betrayal crushed that feeling immediately, and her heart turned cold once more. "I will not save them," Kemi said, her voice hard. "They are suffering, just as I did." With the village on the edge of collapse, the wise chief Adiolu knew that something had to be done. Unlike the others, he understood that Kemi's heart was filled with pain and anger from the past. Late one night, he visited Kemi's hut alone, without weapon, without threat. He spoke softly, with kindness and wisdom. "Kemi," he said, "I know the darkness in your heart. I see the pain that caused by betrayal. But vengeance is not the answer. Oh. You were once a queen, loved by all, kind and just. That woman is still within you, Kemi. Even now, the pit of revenge will not bring you peace. Only forgiveness can do that." Kemi's heart wavered. His words stirred something deep inside her. A memory of a woman she had been before the spirit of vengeance consumed her. But the anger, the betrayal still burned within her. "What should I forgive?" Kemi asked, her voice shaking. "No one forgave me." "Not for them," the chief replied. "For yourself. You deserve peace, Kemi. You deserve to be free of this burden." Tears filled Kemi's eyes. For the first time in years, she felt the weight of her pain lift. She agreed to lift the curse, but warned the chief that the spirit of vengeance, the one who had given her power, would not be so forgiving. At dawn, Kemi gathered the women of the village and began the ritual to restore their strength. She spoke ancient words, and one by one, the men felt their power return. Isa stood tall once more. Bayo swung his armor with ease, and Adeola returned to the river, ready to fish. But just as the ritual was completed, the ground began to tremble. A dark shadow loomed over the village, and the spirits of vengeance appeared, furious that Kemi had broken their pact. "You dare betrayed me!" The spirit roared, its voice echoing like thunder. "Now you will suffer." The spirit's dark tendrils wrapped around Kemi, pulling her towards the underworld. Kemi screamed in terror, realizing that the price for breaking the deal was her soul. Just as Kemi was about to be dragged into the darkness, Chief Adeolu stepped forward, holding an ancient talisman that had been passed down through the village leaders from generations to generations. The talisman glowed with a brightening light, and as the chief held it up, the spirits recoiled in fear. The spirit of vengeance howled in fury, but the power of the talisman was too strong. It pushed the dark entity back, banishing it into the shadows. The spirit disappeared, leaving Kemi free, but weakened. She collapsed to the ground, exhausted but alive. Words of Kemi's bravery reached King Ola's kingdom. When the king learned the truth about Bode's betrayal, he was filled with regret. Bode was exiled from the kingdom, his name forever cursed. No one heard from him again. In a surprising twist, Ingola invited Kemi to return to the kingdom and reclaim her place as a queen, but Kemi, wiser and more mature, refused. She had found her own path and no longer needed a crown to define her worth. Left the village of Ajoran with her soul free from the chains of vengeance. She traveled far and wide, sharing her story and helping others who had suffered betrayal and loss. Her tale became a legend, told for generations, as a lesson in forgiveness, strength, and danger of letting anger consume the soul. As the village of Ajura returned to peace, the people never forgot the mysterious queen who had come and gone, leaving behind a legacy of both darkness and light. If you enjoyed this story, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more African tales of mystery, magic, lessons that last a lifetime. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching. Bye.